You believe being nice is always good, but your brain might be using it against you. Have you ever met someone who sits quietly in a room full of people, but their mind is louder than the entire crowd? Or maybe that person is you. You're sitting with friends, everyone is laughing, enjoying the moment, and suddenly your brain asks a weird question like, why do humans even need friends? Or, what if the life I'm living isn't the life I was meant for? Meanwhile, your friend is just thinking, pizza or burger? If this happens to you, don't worry. You're not weird. You might just be a deep thinker. And today, we're going to explore something fascinating: the psychology of deep thinkers, why their minds work differently, why they often feel misunderstood, and why their greatest strength can also feel like a curse. So stay with me till the end, because the final truth about deep thinkers might completely change how you see yourself. And if you enjoy videos that explore the hidden psychology of the human mind, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because we dive deep here, really deep. Now, let's begin. Deep thinkers are people who rarely accept things at the surface level. When something happens, their brain doesn't stop at what happened. Their brain immediately asks, why did it happen? What does it mean? What could happen next? For example, imagine someone sends you a message. Okay. A normal person reads it and moves on. But a deep thinker? Oh no. A deep thinker will analyze it like a detective solving a crime. Why did they write only okay? Did I say something wrong? Are they angry? Is our friendship slowly ending? 5 minutes later, they're basically writing a full psychological thesis on the word okay. Sounds funny, right? But that's exactly how deep thinkers work. Their minds naturally search for patterns, meanings, and hidden truths. And this ability is actually very powerful. Most inventors, philosophers, scientists, and great storytellers were deep thinkers, people like Albert Einstein, Socrates, and Nikola Tesla. These people didn't just accept reality, they questioned it. Einstein once spent years thinking about one simple question: what would happen if I rode on a beam of light? Most people would laugh at that question, but that question eventually helped change physics forever. That's the power of a deep thinking mind. But here's where the story gets interesting, because deep thinking isn't always a superpower. Sometimes it becomes a trap. Imagine your brain is like a powerful sports car. A normal mind drives at 40 kilometers per hour, but a deep thinker's mind, it's always racing at 200. At first, it feels exciting. You understand people better. You notice things others miss. You see deeper meanings in conversations, movies, and even silence. But over time, the speed becomes exhausting. You start overthinking everything. Why did they look at me like that? Did I say something stupid? What if I fail? What if I'm not living the right life? Your brain becomes a machine that never turns off. Even at night. Deep thinkers often struggle with sleep because their mind suddenly decides that 2 a.m. is the perfect time to think about life, the universe, childhood memories, and whether pigeons secretly judge humans. Yes, pigeons. Don't pretend you haven't thought weird things like that. And here's the surprising twist about deep thinkers. Most people assume they're extremely confident because they seem wise or intelligent, but the truth is often the opposite. Deep thinkers are usually very self-aware, and extreme self-awareness sometimes creates self-doubt. Because the more you understand life, the more you realize how much you don't understand. That's why many deep thinkers spend a lot of time alone. Not because they hate people, but because solitude gives them space to explore their thoughts. Famous writers like Franz Kafka and philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche spent long periods in isolation. Their minds needed silence the way lungs need air. But here's the part nobody talks about. Deep thinkers often feel lonely in a crowded world. Imagine explaining your thoughts to someone. You say something like, "Do you think our fears are actually controlling our choices?" And the other person replies, "Bro, I just asked if you want tea or coffee." This happens a lot. Deep thinkers live in layers of thought, while most conversations stay on the surface. And that difference can make them feel misunderstood. But here comes the big reveal. Being a deep thinker is not a problem. The real problem is not understanding how to balance it, because deep thinking becomes powerful only when it leads to action. Thinking without action is like having a map but never starting the journey. Some of the greatest creators in history were deep thinkers who learned this balance. They asked deep questions, but they also built things, wrote books, created inventions, and changed the world. And here's something beautiful about deep thinkers. They are often the people who truly understand emotions. They listen carefully. They notice small changes in someone's voice. They understand pain that others ignore. That's why deep thinkers often become great friends, artists, writers, and problem solvers. Their minds explore depths that others never reach. So if you are someone whose mind constantly questions life, if you often sit quietly while your brain travels through 1,000 thoughts, if people sometimes say, "You think too much," maybe they're right. But maybe that's not your weakness. Maybe that's your gift. The world moves fast, but deep thinkers remind us to slow down, to question, to understand, and to see meaning where others see nothing. And maybe, just maybe, the thoughts that keep you awake at night are the same thoughts that could change your life someday. If this video made you think a little deeper about yourself, make sure to like this video. And if you enjoy exploring psychology, human behavior, and the hidden truths of life, subscribe to the channel and join this journey with us. Because sometimes the quietest minds are thinking the loudest truths. And until the next video, keep thinking.